G'day viewers, welcome to another late edition of Totally Fucked Up Friday. It's probably still Friday somewhere, and it depends when you watch it, you know, all that sort of thing. Why did I not do it Friday night after work like I usually do? Well, we're in the middle of a 35 to 40 degree heat wave here, and after an entire day of that and helping someone after work with a video, I was just literally too hot and tired. And this shed, which brick at the end of the day, the bricks all radiate the heat that they've gathered during the day. Plus I have to turn on my work lights and I would have died, okay? I know not everyone cares about that, but I would have died. So I didn't do it. So it's the next day and it's daylight. So I have no idea if this evil daylight will be uneven and maybe my chroma key is all fucked up. But you know what? Let's move on anyway. And this week we start with the parade of totally fucked up hypocrites. You know those stories, I love them, one where someone's publicly crusaded against something and yet they're actually guilty of doing it themselves. Starting in El Paso, where a county commissioner who'd been very anti-drug, ooh, the drugs, they're bad, yep, you guessed it, he's just been busted for possession of 50 kilograms of cannabis, which could lead him to a very, very long time in jail and millions of dollars in fines. And on top of everything, he's not a very smart anti-drug guy, because the 50 kilograms is apparently the magic number. If he'd had 49 kilograms, it would have been a far lesser penalty. And so he's not just a hypocrite, he's a stupid hypocrite. Put him away, he deserves it. On a similar note, there's a story in New Jersey. The guy was on a committee to help stop underage drinking. You see where this is going, don't you? Yes, there was an underage drinking party at his house, and it actually resulted in a crash from a young drunk driver. Now, the guy, while he's facing the charges, is pleading innocence, and he may be telling the truth. Who knows? He says the drinking only happened while he was out for a couple of hours picking up his son, who was visiting from college. Possibly the truth. Think about it. He's at home with his teenage daughter, no drinking going on. He goes away for a couple of hours, drinking! It could happen, okay? I've heard worse defences. And he also says his teenage daughter, who was there the whole time, was also not involved in the drinking or supplying the drinks. It could happen! And coincidentally, seeing a couple stories like that made me think of my old favourite, the Anti-Gay Conservative getting busted for gay activity, which, you know, shouldn't be an issue. Me, personally, someone's sexuality is their sexuality. If they're not hurting anyone and it's consensual, it's all good. It's just the irony of someone being that hypocritical by going on public saying, oh, gotta stop the gays, I'm anti-gay marriage, I'm anti-this, but doing it. I thought, I just bet, if I put this into a search engine, anti-gay conservative court, I'm gonna find another story. Incidentally, that gives you about 3.5 million Google hits. But recent news, there's only Texas-based Shock Jock, who, to be fair to him, he's far more anti-Muslim and racist than he is anti-gay, but he's made anti-gay statements, and there's video of him in a gay bar, and this came to attention because he was charged with involvement with a hit and run on leaving the gay bar, vehicle-to-vehicle hit and run, not a pedestrian. Now the charges were dropped, apparently they didn't have the right witnesses or something like that, but it's just drawn attention to this conservative mouthpiece being in the gay bar, and the in-house security has him there for 45 minutes while a drag show's on, having a couple of drinks, using the toilet. You know, it was, to use a phrase, not a quick in and out. Now, his defence, and let me be clear, I don't think he needs a defence, you know, gay bars, drag shows, good night out, basically, but he doesn't want to be seen to be, you know, the hypocrite, and he said, oh, I just went in there for a beer, they had beer, was that so bad? In this really nondescript, out-of-the-way bar that only announces it's a bar with a sign this big because they don't want the anti-gay freaks hassling on them. It could happen, okay? His only reason for being there might have been to get a beer. He may not have sought out this isolated not well advertised gay bar for the gay action, okay? It can happen! And what was the most fucked up thing said this week in the increasing insanity that is the United States Republican presidential nomination race? Well, yet again, I think probably Rick Santorum wins again this week, which is not easy when you've got Newt Gingrich saying insane stuff as well and Mitt Romney just being a complete hypocrite. But, you know, you got to get... Santorum gets it out there, okay? He spreads the Santorum everywhere, and he says some crazy shit. My favourite thing for this week is when he said, because President Obama's trying to get more people into a college education. He said, that is just to undermine religion, okay? Because people who go to college get less religious, okay? And so you've got to stop people getting educated or they'll be less religious. In his defense, okay, statistically, it's true. More people go to higher education, they do tend to be less religious, which does not logically support what some really obnoxious atheists say, that everyone who believes in religion is dumb. No, there's heaps of deeply religious people who are far fucking smarter than you. But statistically, Santorum said something that's absolutely true. More people go to higher education, they tend to be less religious. Statistics support that. Whether this supports his whole Obama is the great Satan thing, but my favourite thing about this is what he is saying to his supporters is, I need to keep you stupid or you'll stop supporting me. He's just coming out and saying what the Republicans all seem to be pushing. No, we need you stupid, otherwise you won't support us. Local politics, as I mentioned on Wednesday, is being dominated by leadership fights in our governing Labor Party. That shit's supposed to finish on Monday. Everyone will be much happier if it does, or everyone apart from the leader of the opposition, Tony Abbott, because if it really settles, then people will just look back at him and go, wait, this fuckwit? Seriously? And then he'll get knifed by Malcolm Turnbull in his own party, which a lot of people are looking forward to. And yes, the Liberals will absolutely storm home if Turnbull becomes their leader again. They'll probably storm home with Abbott, but there's doubt because a serious number of the population with this freak in charge of the Liberal Party, when it comes to voting day, they'll go, Tony Abbott? Fucking really? That freak? Really? All you got to do is get rid of him and they storm him. But this is actually not that fucked up. This is a funny thing that happened where he said, because he's just milking this for all it's worth, which, as I've said before, in opposition, you expect him to milk this sort of drama for all it's worth. But he said, no matter who wins the leadership in the Labor Party, the poison will remain. And a Twitter friend of mine just had a killer line for that with, so Tony Abbott's started to refer to himself as the poison. Why not? He could be an Australian version of Jersey Shore. And this has got stuck in my mind in a really disturbing way. Instead of the situation, would be the poison, with Tony running around in his Speedos with the poison tattooed across his chest. Now that is totally fucked up. But probably the most totally fucked up politics-related story I found this week comes from Alaska, where a man's launched a lawsuit saying President Obama doesn't have a right, a legal right to be president. Oh no, the birthers, they won't give, and they won't, the birthers won't give up. This guy takes this shit to another level. He said President Obama can't be president because he's a member of the Mulatto race. And he throws back to the time when the original Constitution was written, and he said no Negro or mulatto would be recognised as a citizen. So they can't be now because nothing ever changes. This, for those people who in the US who push the Constitution, you've got to adhere to it because nothing's ever changed. This guy is the absurd logical end point, okay? It's like anything that was ever in place ever back then can't ever be changed. This typifies the lunacy of that. Not typifies, this is the extreme example of how far that lunacy can go. But the weirdest bit for this to me, this guy could just be making a point. It might be a joke. He might be saying, see, this is why this line of arguing is so stupid, because it leads here. Or he may actually be that stupid and that much of a racist freak. And this is why I tell people not to use sarcasm or irony in text comments on YouTube videos, because it doesn't work. There are people that stupid in the world. And when somebody makes a really stupid comment, it's impossible to tell whether it's irony or actual stupidity. That is how fucked the world has gotten.